Yo, peace was good. Welcome to another installment of my CD collection. This is part 152. Let's get started. Just want to show you guys, let you know, the first 11 CDs I bought is in between a flea market and then like a record store that I found. And I just want to show that. And then the rest are like internet purchases I got through Bandcamp, Discogs, eBay, stuff like that. So I just want to throw those out to just let you guys know what's going on. All right, without further ado, let's get into the CDs. All right, first CD I bought was a kind of a blind buy for me. Nightmares on Wax with their second album, Smoker's Delight, released in 1995. They're based out of Warp Records. Warp Records is like trip hop, kind of like the same vein like Mo Wax, Ninja Tune, shit like that. So if you like that kind of stuff, then I think you'll definitely enjoy this. Nightmare on Wax, that's the name of the group. It consists of two members of the group. They're based out of Leeds in the UK, United Kingdom, and England, whatever you want to call it. Standout tracks to me, I'm about to go with Night's Interlude, Stars, Man the Journey, and When I'm Feeling Good. This was okay. It kind of has like that, that reggae dub kind of feel, which I do like, but like I feel like some of the songs are a little bit too long for my taste. It would usually be like 8 minutes, 7 minutes, a little bit too long for my taste. After a while it gets a little, not for that, it gets a little repetitive and boring after a while. It kind of becomes repetitive and that kind of thing. Now, if you're like a smoker, then I think you'll definitely enjoy this. Like, it's kind of music that you play, you with your boys, or it's just like with a party, you have a smoke fest, you play this in the background, and it definitely would be, fitting for this. But, I don't smoke. Like, I never smoked in my life, so it's not really for me. It's just to understand. But, Smoker's Delight, but Not Me on Wax. This is the second album, released in 1995. All right. Next up, we're gonna go to Miami, Florida. We're gonna go with Big Ballers. The album released in 1998. Big Baller. They're based out of Miami. It's a compilation right here. Pretty good stuff. Known for the singles Bound to Happen. It doesn't say the name of the name of the rappers on here. You would have to open the CD, that kind of thing. It has like the Q pack, really cool. I really love that, man. I love Q packs. You know what I'm saying? Really good stuff right here. But yeah, standout tracks to me, I'm about to go with This Is How It's Going Down. They Don't Live Long. That was by Trick Daddy. That was from his first album, based on a true story, which is super slept on. I think Trick Daddy's first four albums are fucking dope. Those are fire albums, man. Just have to throw it out there. They Don't Live Long. I love that joint right there. Bitch Made Niggas. Dreams of the Ghetto. Paper Chase. Verbal Hytosis. Ballin' was pretty good. Riding High. Strap Up Your Boots. How You Gonna Fuck With a Baller. Fire Up This Funk, and Ain't No Stopping the South. Pretty good stuff right here. Production kind of reminds me of the first two Trick Daddy albums. So if you like that, then you'll definitely enjoy this, as well as a little bit of like the Beats by the Pound type production. So if you like those kind of beats, then I definitely would recommend checking this album out, man. You gotta love the pen and pick. So this is a little, you could tell this is like out in the sun for a while, so it's a little sundialed. But either way, it doesn't affect the CD. So I'm glad, again, I got it from a flea market. So really good stuff right here. I just missed the Q packs, man. I love that shit, man. But yeah, Big Ballers, the album, released in 1998. Did they come out with a sequel album? I have to get my hands on that at some point. All right. And this is the last CD from the flea market that I got it from. And we got Bizzy Bone with Tongues, Speaking in Tongues, released in 2005. You guys should know Bizzy Bone of Bone Thugs and Harmony. So what spawned the title of the album is the fact that he was at he was doing like a radio interview back in the 2000s. I think like around 2003, 2004, and he did like a little rant, and he was like speaking in tongues, and that's how he got that name. Got the name of the album. Speaking in tongues, so that's where he died from that. If you guys know Bizzy Bone, You already know, he talks that gangster shit, but he talks like, religious, themed songs and that kind of thing, and things of that nature. Um, Standout tracks for me, I'm gonna have to go with "What You See" was pretty good. "Seeing Things," "BB the Thug." Um, what was another dope song right here? BB the Thug, like I said, "Hold Me Down," "Represent the One," and "Less Fame." Those are the standout tracks. This is a pretty cool album. I like his first album, Heaven's Movie from 1998. Fucking love that movie. I love that album. Fucking love it. My only gripe with the album is the fact that because of sample clearances, some of the songs were like really short, so they couldn't clear the samples. Which kind of pissed me off, man. It just felt incomplete. It just felt more like an EP than an actual album. But I hope one day we'll be able to hear the full length album, man. But that's a classic album right there. But yeah, Bizzy Bone with Speaking in Tongues, released in 2005. Dope shit. All right, next up, we're gonna go to Long Beach, California. We're gonna go with Daz Dillinger with Only on the Left Side, released in 2008. You guys should know Daz Dillinger, one half of the Dog Pound, that kind of thing. Snoop Dogg's cousin, you guys know that. The single of this album is Drip Drop Stop Dip, which is a pretty dope song featuring Keith the Sneak. Another dope produced MC right there from the Bay, from Oakland. That was part of 3 Times Crazy at one point. Standout tracks to me, I'm about to go with Squeeze. Only on the Left Side was pretty good. My Summer Vacation. Meal Ticket featuring Crazy Bone, that was pretty good. Blaze Up the Weed was pretty good. Dip Drop Stop Dip featuring Keep the Sneak, as I mentioned before. This is How We Do It featuring Manish Man. Do Your Thing was pretty good. What else? Me and My Cousin featuring Snoop Dogg, that was pretty good. My Ways of Shady featuring Obi Trice, and This Is How We Live featuring Corrupt. Really good stuff right here. Not his best, but he definitely got some decent stuff on here. I do prefer his first couple of albums. The Retaliation, Revenge, and Get Back album from 98, which is really good. His Raw album from 2000, his second album that he put out independently. That's a slept on album. People do not talk about that album a lot, and I fucking love that album right there. That's when he was, at that time, he was beefing with Snoop Dogg. Like, he was beefing. That's the thing, man. Like, Daz, like, he's just like, he's mad emotional. Like, one day he's cool with Snoop, but then he's beefing. Same thing with Corrupt. It's like, come on, dude, like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, right now, he's beefing with Snoop now. So, he's taking shots at him. He's saying, fuck Death Row and all that stuff. And this is crazy. I definitely need to get more albums from Daz. But his stuff is, like, really hard to come by. And it's getting up there in price. So I'm just glad I got this. I do have the Long Beach to Fillmore album with him and J to the Bigger Figure. The album was cool. It wasn't like, but it was cool. But Daz Dillinger, Only on the Left Side, released in 2008. All right, next up we got a group based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Collective Efforts with their Medicine album, released in 2006. It's a pretty cool album right here. It's like, boom bap, hip hop. When you think of Atlanta, you think of like, Little John and, Little Scrappy and, people like that. But there's actually some dope artists out of Atlanta that don't do that kind of style. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, pretty good stuff right here. Based on the vibes of the album, what I got was pretty much like Cunnilingus, like that kind of style of music. So if you kind of like if you like that style of music, then I think you'll definitely enjoy this album right here. Standout tracks is You May Not Know, I Feel Free. That was pretty good. Can't Take That Away. That was pretty good. The self-titled track Medicine was pretty good. Civilized Dreams, United, In Your Mind, and It Keeps Going. That was a pretty good album right here. My favorite album from theirs that This and the next album I mentioned is not the next, but the other album from there that I really like is the last time they were dropped as a group was called Freezing World, and I fucking love that. That's a pretty dope album right there. Love that shit. I definitely want to get that on CD at some point. But yeah, Collective Efforts with Medicine, released in 2006. All right, next up, this is an album that I've always seen, but I never bothered to pick it up. But I finally picked it up because I got it for cheap. Beastie Boys with Hello Nasty, released in 1998. MCA, recipes to him, to that brother right there. Man, this is such a dope album. I kind of slept on this album. Reason being because, I'm a fan of Beastie Boys, but I'm not the biggest fan. But the albums that I do love from them I like that 1992 to 95 era of Beastie Boys, meaning that I'm talking Check Your Head, Ill Communication, and the Root Down EP. I fucking love those projects. It's so excuse me, pardon self. I love those projects. It's really dope. Yeah, I remember hearing Intergalactic as a kid, like so many times. That was like such a big song for them. Especially like on MTV. They used to play that video a lot back in the day. But let's get into the singles. The singles include Intergalactic, like I mentioned before. Body Moving, fucking love that joint. Negotiating Limerick File, whew, that shit goes hard. And Remote Control, that's another dope joint right there. Standout tracks for me, I'm about to go with Super Disco Breakin', Remote Control, Song for the Man, Just a Test, Body Moving, Intergalactic, that goes hard. Singing Out the Hospital was like an instrumental. You guys know, if you guys listen to Beastie Boys, you guys know they always do like instrumentals and stuff like that throughout the album. Putting Shame in Your Game, The Grasshopper Unit, Keep Moving, that shit goes hard. Song for Junior, The Negotiation, Limerick File, that's probably my favorite song of the album. Love that joint, love the beat for that, that goes hard. Picture This, Unite, and Dedication, those are the standout tracks. Very, very, very dope album. Once again, recipes to MCA. I think I read somewhere where MCA, he put a clause, like a little clause in his will, whatever the case may be, to where like, corporations are not allowed to use the music from Beastie Boys in like commercials and things like that. Otherwise they'll get sued. So, it is what it is. That's his wish. And I'm not even mad at that because a lot of times the artists don't get paid for that because, these corporations, they just like to be sneaky and shit like that. So I'm with that, so but salute to him and salute to the whole Beastie Boys. They're fucking dope. Alright, next up, this is a bit of a rarity. I'm so glad I got my hands on it. I never thought I'd find it. And we're talking about Gangster Shorties with their debut album, Point of No Return, released in 1994. You guys might not be familiar with this group, but I did show you their second album, I think around like a couple years back. I don't remember the time period. I think it was like 5 years ago. There were G Shorties with 44 Ways that came out in 96. This is their first full album from 94. So, I picked it up. I was going to buy it anyways, but I was like, Gangster Shorties, where do I know that from? I don't remember. And, thank God for cell phones. I looked it up on Discogs with this album, and I found out that they had dropped the album 44 Ways, but they just shortened the Gangster to G Shorties. But in this album, the first album, they had it all spelled out. So like, holy shit. And I looked up the price for this album. This album usually goes for like over $100. I think on Discogs, I seen it go for like $70 on eBay. Usually goes a little over $100. So like, I got this for fucking steal. I basically stole this shit, basically. Obviously not really, but I'm trying to say. But yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, I gotta do upside down because the way they have is like all jacked up. It's weird. But yeah, known for the single City Limits. They're based out of Miami, like I said before. Standout tracks for me, I'm gonna have to go with City Limits, which is the single. Gangsta Gangsta, Miami Got Clout, Point of No Return, the self-titled track. Gangsta Tip, but on this it says Gangsta T.I., but it's Gangsta Tip. Wanted, Time Served and Real Niggas, really good album right here. Very short, 11 tracks. It's a pretty easy listen. It's like the production on here is like G-Funk mixed with samples and that kind of thing. So if you guys like, NWA, if you like South Central Cartel, but, production by like 1994 standards, 93, 94 standards, then I think you'll definitely enjoy this album right here. It's really good stuff right here. Like I said, it's really hard to find. If you can find it, man, I would highly recommend you get this album. But again, it's not gonna be the easiest album to find just because certain albums were regional, so you're not gonna find certain things. Just like some of the stuff that I like, some of the Bay Area stuff, you can only find it over there. Even some of the Rap A Lot record albums are like regional that you can't find, that kind of thing. But yeah, Gangster Shorties with Point of No Return. This was released in 1994. Dope shit. All right. Next up, we're gonna go to LA. We're gonna go with Big Logic with Unlimited Thought, released in 2001. This was honestly a blind buy. Excuse me. I went on YouTube, clicked on because like some albums are like the full albums, so they have it to where like it's a 1 MP3, so you have to listen to kind of cassette style type of file. I hate when they do that, but it is what it is. I actually like what I heard, man. Really good stuff. There's 2 singles. The singles are Where the Ladies At and Heidi Ha, Heidi Ho. That's the second single of the album. I believe Where the Ladies At, there is a single for that. So, excuse me, there's a video for that. So I have to throw that out there. Standout tracks for me, I'm gonna have to go with Radioactive, Heidi Ha, Heidi Ho, Don't Stop, Broke to Ballin', What You Hitting On, that goes hard, Slide, Trick, It Ain't Easy, Stacking Notes, Where the Ladies At, and Call It What You Want. Those are the standout tracks for me. Production wise, it kind of remind me of like the late 90s, early 2000s G-Funk, like that Southern California kind of vibe. It kind of has that feel to it. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Some releases from that time period, it is really not that good. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think like around like, it also depends on the artist too. You know what I mean? But typically in West Coast hip hop, sometimes like it's some of the releases from that time period is not that good. But like I said, it depends on the artist. But you have some really good stuff. This is one of them. So Big Logic, Unlimited Thought, released in 2001. All right. Next up, we're gonna go to Money Under Mount Vernon. We're gonna go with Heavy D with a Heavy, released in 1999. I believe this was the last time he dropped as an artist until he died in 2011. May he rest in peace. He was a dope producer, dope MC. He did it all. I feel like he never got his just due. People respect him, but he doesn't get the respect, if that makes sense. Known for the singles Don't Stop and On Point. Those are the 2 singles. They both have videos for that. I think Don't Stop had a video. I'm not sure about On Point does have a video. Don't Stop, I'm not sure if it has a video, but those are the 2 singles of the album. Standout tracks for me, I'm gonna have to go with Listen featuring Q-Tip. That goes hard. Ask Heaven, that was pretty good. On Point and Spanish Fly. Those are like the only singles I like. Those are the only standout songs I like. Everything else I didn't really care for. You can tell he was trying to go for that commercial sound, and I didn't really like that, honestly. I don't know, man. Like, it was a little tad better than What About Have, which I do have. I showed you guys that a while ago. It still wasn't that good, man. This is like a tad little bit of an improvement. Just was not a fan of this album. I'm more of a fan of the Heavy D and the Boys. It seemed like right after like 94, 95 is like when he kind of went downhill from there. This is my personal opinion. And around this time he was putting out artists. Like he put out Monifa with her album Moods Moments, fire album for '96. That was his artist. Then he had Soul For Real, and that's another dope group too. That was by Heavy D as well. So he was busy doing that too. He was doing movies around that. He was on New Jersey Drive, and he had a dope song called Check It Out. That was produced by Heavy D. Produced by Easy Mo B off the New Jersey Drive soundtrack. So just had to throw that out there. By Heavy D, released in 1999. May he rest in peace. All right. And the last two from the record store, let's just get on with it. Salt-N-Pepa with Very Necessary, released in 1993. For years, I thought I had this album, but I didn't. And I'm glad I got it, man, because, this is such a dope album. It's probably my favorite. It's my favorite album from theirs. Known for the singles, Waterman, which was fucking big back in the day. Shoop. What else? None of Your Business. And Heaven and Hell. Those are the 4 singles of the album. Standout tracks for me, No One Does It Better, Somebody's Getting on My Nerves, Waterman, None of Your Business was pretty good. That was pretty cool. No, I didn't really care for that song, I'm sorry. Step was pretty good. Heaven and Hell, Big Shot, Shoop. Funny story with Shoop is that shout out to Grand Poobah. Grand Poobah, he said he was on Instagram Live. This was like about 4 years ago. He was interviewing somebody, and he flat out was saying like how when Herbie Lovebug approached him to appear in a song, that Grand Poobah wanted half the money up front and pay the rest after. They was like, nah, we're not doing that. So he didn't end up being on the song, and then he had some other dude that sounded just like Grand Poobah. So just had to throw that out. It kind of makes sense too, because Grand Poobah at that time was like a hot commodity, man. Like that 1990 to like 93 era, Grand Poobah was out of here. You know what I'm saying? Shoop, Heaven and Hell, Big Shot, like I mentioned before, Sexy Noises Turn Me On, Summertime Man, and Break It Dawn. Those are the standout tracks. Definitely their best album. Fucking love it. When I thought this, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it would be like on some hip hop shit, but it really is. The production is on some hip hop shit. It's like some rugged boom bap type shit. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was gonna be on the likes of like a what's the word? Kind of like Escape, Off the Hook, albums like that, Humming At Ya, like that kind of stuff. Because they kind of dress like tomboys and shit like that. So I thought that was the vibes I was gonna get, but I got a complete opposite. Salt-N-Pepa, Very Necessary, released in 1993. I'm just missing their second album, Assault with a Deadly Pepper, and I'm missing their last album they dropped called Brand New. I need to get that album. But their stuff tend to be a little hard to find. This usually be like, you always find this like in thrift stores or like record store. You always find this album. I believe this was like their best selling album too. Either this or Black Magic, I'm not sure. But yeah, Very Necessary by Salt-N-Pepa, 1993. All right, and the last one from the record store is Rebirth of Cool, A Deeper Shade of Blues, released in 1993. This is a pretty cool album right here. It's like acid jazz, that kind of thing. This was released on the 4th and Broadway, home of Mobb Deep at one point, with You Went On Hell. Then you had the group Two Kings in the Cypher with D Dot of Bad Boy Records. He was part of Hitman, and Ron Amin Ra, who produced for Jay-Z the song Where I'm From and stuff like that. Where they actually had a group together back in '91, and it was on the 4th and Broadway. There's an album called what was that shit called? I think it was called From Projects to Pyramids, or Pyramids to Projects, something like that. Kind of hard to find, a little expensive, but I definitely want to get my hands on that. And I believe Freestyle Fellowship was part of that record label as well. I could be wrong about that, but I know for sure Two Kings in the Cypher and Mobb Deep was part of 4th and Broadway. Standout tracks for me, I'm going to have to go with Taurus Woman by the Subterraneans, that was pretty cool. Bad Brother by Ronnie Jordan. Recipes to Ronnie Jordan, fucking dope artist. Fever with Stereo MCs. Revival, Rebirth Edit, that was pretty cool. Caroline by MC Solar. His first two albums are fire. Loud Minority Club Mix with United Future Organization, and Inner City Boundaries by Freestyle Fellowship. I need to get their albums, but their albums are kind of hard to find. But really good stuff right here. If you're into that kind of like acid jazz and stuff, was really popular in the early to mid 90s, then this would be a cup of tea. If it's not your thing, it is an acquired taste, I'll give you that. But Rebirth, cool shades, deep shades of blues, released in 1993. I know there's like several volumes. I think this is volume 3, but it doesn't say. But yeah, dope stuff right here. All right, now we're gonna get into like the album, like the internet cops that I got. Like I said, I got these from like eBay, Discogs, Instagram, Bandcamp, that kind of thing. All right, so now let's get into it. This stuff is like a little bit more on the rare side of things. And what I mean by rare, I mean by like hard to find. Because when people equate to rare, they always think it's expensive. Sometimes it's not always that expensive. It's just it's pretty hard to. Sometimes it's just hard to find, but you could get it for a pretty decent price. So that's how to throw that out there. So I'm gonna go through these. All right. So the first one I want to get into is Spark 950 and Timbo King. We United We Slam, released in 1994. Yes, this is the same Timbo King that is part of Royal Fam with Why Came the Ill Figure. I've mentioned them before, which I'll get into later on. But yeah, really good stuff right here. This is before he had that woo sound that he's known for. Known for the singles Nuff Roughness and United We Slam. Those are the singles, but Nuff Roughness is the one that has a video for. Standout tracks to me, Nuff Roughness, Nigga Be Nasty, like the beat for that, it goes hard. Hood Times, Ice Cream Flavor, that was pretty good. Ice Cream Flavor and United We Slam, those are like the standout tracks for me. I really enjoyed this album. Again, it's like that boom bap, that early to mid 90s boom bap. It's more synonymous to 93 because it has like that 1993 sound. As you can see right here, you got a very young Timbo King, his boy Spark 950. Sadly, that's like the only thing they ever dropped together as a group because, like I said, Timbo King, eventually became part of Royal Fam and stuff like that. Not the easiest album to find. And I mentioned Street Life before. When I did the Craig Mack Operation Get Down, which was the subsidiary to the Scotty Brother Records, I mentioned that before. So they were part of that. They were part of that record label too. So yeah, United We Slam by Spark 950 and Timbo King, released in 1994. All right, next up, we're gonna go to South Central LA, and we're gonna go with Another Level. On Another Level, released in 1994. They're a hip hop group, like I said, based out of South Central LA. They're known for their affiliation with Ice Cube. Ice Cube was, pretty much mentoring them, if you will. That kind. They were signed under. I don't know if they were signed under Ice Cube, but they definitely were affiliated with Ice Cube at some point. But yeah, really good stuff right here. Known for the singles Don't Stimulate, and I believe the other single, what was the other single? I think I wrote it down. Let me see what it was. What's That You Say and Don't Stimulate. Those are the singles of the album. Now, standout tracks that I like. I'm gonna have to go with Let Me Take You. That was another dope joint right there. Just Frontin', that was pretty good. Don't Stimulate, that goes hard. I like that joint right there. A Question to Ask, What's That You Say, Caught You Swinging, On Deck, For Shot, and Fat T. Those are the standout tracks of the album. Um, I kind of get like Far Side vibes with these guys. You know what I mean? Like they're not gangster or anything like that. They just rap, pretty cool. They're like synonymous to like I said, like likes of like Far Side. Souls of Mischief, like that kind of vibe. That's what I get with these groups, and I kind of miss that. There was an artist named Ahmad. So if you guys know about Ahmad, then you'll definitely would enjoy this album because that album was dope too. Really good stuff right here. Like I said, yeah. Another Level, On Another Level, by Another Level, released in 1994. Sadly, this was like the only album they dropped. They had a dope song off the Street Fighter soundtrack called Rap Commando. Fucking love that shit. Love that shit. I just hated how that song ended. Like they didn't really fade out the song. They just stopped abruptly. Like I hate that. Like it's just like what the fuck, you know what I mean? So I don't know if they did that on purpose or that was like a manufacturer error. If you guys look at that song Rap Commando Another Level, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's kind of annoying, but I enjoy the song for what it is. But yeah, pretty good stuff. You guys like Far Side, Souls of Mischief, you'll definitely enjoy this album right here. All right. Next up, we got another rarity right here that some of you don't really talk about. It's Me and My Cousin with International, released in 1996. Never heard of these guys before. I mean, I've seen the album before, but I didn't think anything of it. But what sparked my interest with this album, it was that it was fully produced by Rhythm D. Rhythm D, dope producer from the West Coast. I think he's from South Central as well. He produced the song Real Motherfucking G's by Eazy-E. Did some stuff, for MC Ren, Eazy, like I mentioned before, among other people. He also did the whole album for the Stephon Trippin' With No Luggage, which I showed you guys before. That's another dope album right here. And then, this pretty much continue on that journey right there. Excuse me. Oh, he also produced Down For My Thing by Bone Thugs off the Creeping On The Come Up EP. That's another dope joint right there. So I had to throw those out there. Known for the singles Red Carpet and Smooth. Those are the singles. Standout tracks for me, I'm gonna have to go with Learning the Game. That goes hard. Front to Back, that was pretty cool. Bank Out. For Who. My Day, Freaks, Red Carpets, and The Endo. Those are like the standout tracks for me. Pretty cool album. Not some of Rhythm D's best production. It was cool, but I was kind of expecting a little bit more. I was kind of expecting like more dark, gritty type production. It's cool, but it's a little bit more smooth than I wanted it to be. But I think that's what they were kind of going for, so I can't be mad at that. But it's a pretty cool album. Again, it's a bit of a rarity. It's not something I really hear too many people talk about. But like I said, what sparked my interest is because it was fully produced by Rhythm D. And Rhythm D is like one of my favorite producers that came out of the West Coast. He also produced the song Diddy by Paperboy. So that's another dope joint right there. But yeah, Me and My Cousin were International, released in 1996. All right. Next up, this is another one that I don't really hear too many people talk about. We're gonna go to the Bronx, North Bronx to be specific. Grayson and Jason with Sweat Me Wet, released in 1991. They're a group based out of the North Bronx. I believe they're from I want to say they're from Edenwald Projects. I could be wrong about that, but they're from the Bronx. They're known for their affiliation with Slick Rick and Vance Wright. That was their artist. Vance Wright produced the whole album, that kind of thing. So I thought that was pretty cool. I showed you guys, Slick Rick's what's that album? The Ruler's Back album. That was fully produced by Vance Wright, and he also did this album as well. This album was a little bit more gritty, it's a little bit more gangster, a little more street compared to that album, Ruler's Back. Known for the singles Living Like a Trooper and Get Busy. Those are the two singles. They both have videos for it. For what I understand with the video Living Like a Trooper, that was the first hip-hop video that they actually showed guns and shooting the gun in the video. So I think that was the first one. That's how I throw it out there. So actually, I think Grayson, who actually he did an interview with Gully TV a couple years back. I did watch it recently, and he actually talks about that. So I know this kind of looks like an R&B type of album, but don't be fooled because it's some straight gangster shit on this album right here. Some straight gritty shit, street shit. Standout tracks to me, I don't play. Living Like a Trooper. I'm Crazy. Sweat Me Wet. Hard As They Come. Laura, Get Busy. Intoxicated. And Basketball. Basketball probably is like my favorite song of the album. I like the beat for that. Pretty good stuff right here, like I said before. Really, yeah, this shit is dope, man. Some straight street shit right here. Again, I think it was Grayson who did the interview. Cause I watched it a couple months ago, but he said with the album cover, that was more to like kind of like to market the group, the group, that kind of thing, to kind of like to sell better. It's like a marketing scheme, that kind of thing. So, but if you see the video, they do not look like that at all. So, but yeah, Grayson and Jason, Sweat Me Wet, released in 1991, very dope album. Like I said, if you guys like the second album by Slick Rick, then I think you'll definitely enjoy this album. It was a lot more gritty, more street, that kind of thing. Dope shit. Alright. Next up, this is an album I already had, but I lost a case when I moved down here from New York a little over 20 years ago. And it is Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai soundtrack, released in 2000. The movie came out in 1999, but the soundtrack came out in 2000. Really, really good stuff right here. I believe the single of the album is Cakes, featuring Cool Rap and the RZA. Dope stuff right here. Standout tracks for me: Strange Eyes, For Show, Zip Code, That Goes Hard, Cakes, Don't Test Wu Stallion, that was pretty cool. Walking Through the Darkness with Taquita. You guys might be familiar with that song, because that song was actually featured on the Bulletproof Wallets album. So there's a version with Ghostface and Taquita. And but Taquita, this is the solo version of that. Taquita's solo version of that song. So you're not gonna hear Ghostface on this song unless you get the Bulletproof Wallets album. Then you'll hear Ghostface's version on that shit. So I thought that was pretty cool. The Man, featuring Master Kill and Superb, Walk the Dogs. East New York Stamp, fucking love that joint. Fast Shadow, That Goes Hard, Samurai Showdown by the RZA. Really good stuff right here. Really, really, really good stuff. This is when RZA started delving into film, that kind of thing. He did the score. Love that shit. Actually, I'm trying to get the score version of this movie, of this album. The score soundtrack, which is like the background music and that kind of thing. Trying to get my hands on that, because for years that one was really hard to find. But they released it, I think about 5 years ago. I seen it for like decent prices for like $20 and stuff. It usually goes for that time, but I like the late teens, like $17, $18, that kind of thing. I didn't get it, but I'll definitely get it next CD collection video that I do. But Samurai Showdown, Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, the album released in 2000. Dope stuff. Alright. Alright, these next two, I want to give a big shout out to my dude, DJ Nelson Hip Hop, of Instagram. Shout out to him. He's the one that gave me, let me see, give me 1 second. DJ Mr. Nelson of Instagram. He's the one that blessed me with the WC and the Mad Circle album, Curb Surfing. He's the one that I bought that from, so he blessed me with that. So these next two albums, I've been trying to get for a while, and I finally got it. He gave me a good price on both of them. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't pass it. Put it like this: the album I'm gonna show next, it usually goes for the price that he showed me the two CDs for, the price of one. So I had to throw it out there. So If you can figure out how much I paid, then salute to you on that. And first, the next album I'm gonna show you guys is probably my favorite album from this group. Above the Law with Time Will Reveal, released in 1996. Fucking love this album. This album goes so fucking hard. Love it, love it, love it. Dope album. Known for the singles 100 Spokes and City of Angels, the remix featuring Frost, aka Kid Frost. When Frost dropped his album, what's that album? Smile Now, Die Later, which I need to get my hands on. That's the one he's like in the like the suburban, all tricked out, the white cover and stuff like. I've always loved that album cover. Always liked that. I used to see that in stores back in the day, but I didn't know who he was. But I've always liked the album cover. Yeah, City Angels remix, like I said before. Standout tracks, I'm about to go Encore, The Evil That Men Do. Gorilla Pimp is probably my favorite song of the album. Love that shit right there. It sounds like a playoff of the Tonight song by Clear. Also with DJ Quick and Tonight, the same sample, but they played it out and it just sounds so grimy. It just sounds so dope. My favorite song of the album, not gonna lie to you. 1996, Killers in the Park featuring MC Ren. That fucking goes hard. 100 Exposed, like I said before. Clink 2000. Indonesia, that goes hard too. Indonesia, that was another single too. Plays and Gangsters, and City of Angels remix featuring Frost. So there's another version of City of Angels, obviously. So the one on the album is the remix, and then the original version is actually on the City of Angel, the Crow soundtrack, City of Angels, that was released in that same year in '96. That version sounds a little bit different. It sounds like something that would have been on Frost's album, Smile Now, Die Later. It kind of has like, it was, I think that version was produced by Julio G and Tony G, while this one was produced by Big Hutch, aka Cold 187. So I kind of like this version better, but the one on this Crow soundtrack was just as good too. It just, to me, it sounded like something that would have been more fitting on the Frost album, Smile Now, Die Later album. So which I need to get my hands on. The only albums I have from Frost was the East Side Story and the When Hell Lay Freezes Over. I have that. I just need to get his first album. Hispanic Causes Panic. I need to get that album with La Raza. And then his Smile Now, Die Later. So I need to get those albums, and I'm good on the Frost albums. But yeah, this is probably my favorite album. I'm not gonna lie, because I kind of go back and forth between Uncle Sam's Curse and this album. It just depends on the day, but this is just as good. I need to get their Legends album from '98. I don't have that. All right, next up we're gonna go to QBC. You can go with Big Noyd with On The Grind, released in 2004. Yeah, Big Noyd. I do have a couple of his albums. I have the episodes of Hustler. I have the On The Grind album. Then this album came out after On The Grind. And I have the Illustrious album from 2008. His other albums like Codefendant, Queen's Chronicle, albums like that, those are kind of hard to find and a little expensive. It's like up in price. But I remember seeing this album in stores at FYE when I was a kid, like when I was like, my senior year in high school. I just see this album a lot, and just like I just never picked it up because, I had the album downloaded, but I just never picked it up, you know what I mean? And like I said, Big Noyd, his albums tend to be really hard to find. But yeah, I know the single of this album was Louder, featuring Prodigy, which was big on the mixtape circuit of things. That used to be on all over the mixtapes. I love that song. Really do. It kind of brings me back to that time period. But standout tracks, like I said before, is Louder, All My Peoples, Infinite Team, which is like the same song as Mobb Deep's Don't Play, which was featured on Mobb Deep's compilation album, The Safest Crack, which I mentioned before, which is pretty much like a compilation album of songs that we recorded between 2004 and 2005. So it's like between America's Nightmare and Blood Money. So that's like that kind of thing. That song is actually featured on that album. And Money Rolls and Trust Them. That's like the only standout tracks. The rest of the album was kind of weak. I would say this is like his weakest album in my opinion. And what's interesting is that the skits he has like skits from like movie skits from the Murder Music movie that came out in 2004, but it was originally it was recorded in 1999. It was supposed to come out in 98 or 99 rather, but it got shelved and it didn't come out until 2004. And I do have the DVD, and so there's movie skits from that movie, and he put it on the album, so that kind of thing. But definitely his weakest album, but I had to get it because, like I said, not the easiest thing to come by. But yeah, Big Noyd with the On The Grind, released in 2004. Once again, I want to give a shout out to my guy DJ Miss Nelson of Instagram. Shout out to you, my brother, for that. All right. Now these next three, I got off Bandcamp. I want to give a big shout out to my dude ID. Shout out to him of Creative Music, Creative Juices, dope record label. I just wish they put out more stuff. They had the early 2010s on lock. And this album I've been trying to get for years. I'm so glad I got it. And that album is Nems with President's Day, released in 2010. This is the 2020 reissue. Yeah, really good stuff right here. This is Skinny Nems. This is before the Bing Bong craze that he's known for. This is before all of that. You know what I'm saying? Before Gorilla Monsoon album, which is another dope album. Really good stuff right here. This is when he was at the time. At one point, he was signed with Necro with Psychological Records, but then he broke out. He broke out of Psychological Records and joined Creative Juices because basically he was on stage there. He wasn't really doing much when he was with Necro. So Necro gave him his blessing, and then lo and behold, dropped President's Day. What's interesting with this album, the original album is white. Also, it's only a single disc. This one's a double disc album. Just had to throw it out there. So the first disc comes with 17 tracks with like the original album, and the second disc comes with 10 tracks. So I had to throw it out there. So yeah, really good stuff right here. Standout tracks for me: The Inauguration, What It Do, Minimum, Medium, Maximum. That shit goes so fucking hard. Illegal, Jesus Christ, I Get Down, My Worst Enemy, Nens FYI, Fuck Your Life, Faceless, Hot Body Gutter Shit goes hard, Capital Murder, 3 Abs, 21 Blocks, GFY, Go Fuck Yourself, Who Are You, Last Stop. What's another dope song right here? Khan, The World Is a Scheme, Across the Sky, Take Me to the Stars, Stereotype, subtitle track President's Day, Second Term, and Without Them Guns. Pretty dope album right here. This took me a while to get because I ordered it from Bandcamp, and it took me like probably close to a month for it to reach, my apartment. It was like, what the fuck? But I got it, so salute to ID for that. And he was so nice enough to do these next two albums. He dropped with ID and DJ Connect. This came out in 2009, 2010. Really good stuff right here. Really, really, really dope. ID definitely has like that underground gritty boom bap shit right here. Dope stuff right here. Standout tracks for me: Hysteria, Cross the Line was pretty good. God Complex, Music Scientology, that goes hard. Get It In, Home Theaters, Take Form, Silent Treatment, The Claw, Rising, and Cruel Riders outro. Cool Riders. Pretty dope stuff right here. Alucard. I definitely need to get his album from 2009. I think it was called Watch Me Fall. Something to that degree. That's another dope album too. But yeah, shout out to ID, DJ Connect. He threw this in for free with the purchase of the President's Day. So I thought it was pretty nice of him to do that. So really good stuff right here. And the last of the ID bunch, Detriment Surpassing all others. This was released in 2009. It's another good stuff right here. They're like a hip hop band, so it's a mixture of like it's a mixture of like I don't know, like mixed, like it's a mixture of like samples and it's a mixture of samples and like live instrumentation, and it's really good stuff right here. Standout tracks for me, I'm about to go with You Got It, Deadly Fang, Zio, what's it called? Zioni, I think that's how you pronounce that. Got Love, that goes hard. Skin Deep, Night Watching, Trans World Express, and Beyond. The Setup, Another Caliber, Forever Mind, Reflection, and One Last Sunset. So those are the standout tracks. Pretty good stuff. So it's like a mixture of live instrumentation and sampling. Really good stuff. And I'm gonna break it short because I see it's getting a little bit too long. So it's like about 52 minutes. So I'm gonna break it. So this is gonna be part 1. So I'm gonna break it to part 2. So definitely stay tuned for more. All right.